committee report on a code of ethics for the Dickinson Area Public Library Board. All right, which leads us into the collection development policy discussion. We had, go ahead.
So I created a collection development policy. We were looking at 1205, which is what we had discussed at the NDLA conference extensively. Our current selection policy and just the policies that we have in place, they rectify what we need for 1205 in general. So we technically don't need to revamp our collection development policy. I just thought it would be maybe a good idea. I know I've heard a lot of recommendations on putting the Miller test in actual policy, and so that was one of the things that I made sure to add in there. But essentially, we just have to submit our selection policy or collection development policy to the state legislator at the beginning of 2024. And as I said, we've already had the city attorney look over our collection policy, and we are currently in compliance with 1205 right now. Yeah.
So to clarify, and a quick question, as part of the NDLA, which is the North Dakota Library Association statewide conference, there was, correct me if I'm wrong, I wasn't able to attend, a designated portion to state and school libraries across North Dakota having conversations directly around House Bill 1205 and how that affects our policies, correct?
Yeah, that was the entire pre-conference. So.
Alright, so we have the proposed new collection development policy, which also includes a new reconsideration form.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When I read House Bill 1205 3A, it says for the removal or relocation of explicit sexual material in the public library. So how is that being defined for the Dickinson Area Public Library? Explicit sexual material. Is there a definition that's been put in place for that?
Yeah, that was why I put the Miller test in the policy, because that is the legal test in order to define explicit sexual material.
I absolutely don't want to push this, as I would love to have the month to look at this policy, really dive into it compared to what we have, take a deeper dive into 1205. We have the proposed policy, and I would say let's take the month to look at that, come back with any questions, have a discussion, and then we may be able to vote on that on the next one. But depending on how the discussion goes, would the board be fine with that? Yeah, I think this is one we definitely don't want to rush.
Agreed, and time-wise right now I'm feeling that we should probably table it.
We have to have a policy submitted to the state by, you gave it.
January. But once again, we're already in compliance, so if we did submit our current policy, that would be fine.
Okay, so you submitted the current policy to the city attorney. Did you submit the new draft at all, out of curiosity? Is that something that would happen once we approve?
I have not. Yeah, I didn't know if I should just wait for approval or not, but I can send her over one, and then if we can find
you know what, if you do that, then that can be part of our conversation, and whether Mrs. Winkle would be able to join us or just give some written feedback maybe, and we can insert that into our board conversation next month.
Okay.
That'd be great, thank you. The library expansion, we have any updates from that committee?
We will be meeting next week, I believe, on the 12th. We haven't had anything yet. Hopefully this meeting specifically will allow us to get some more, pardon the pun here, concrete work done. So hopefully see where we can allocate some money, because we do still have that stuff preserved from before the lovely pandemic we all went through. So hopefully that December meeting and any meetings thereafter will be far more productive than what we've had. Right now it's just been general discussion for what we plan to do. We have a proposed blueprint for what was, I believe, proposed before the pandemic or even largely before that, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. So hopefully, next week we should have a little more information for that December meeting, but right now it's just looking like we are seeing where money is going to go and possibly come from, alongside the high school bond referendum that passed recently, even if it is temporarily, to see whether or not there would be an increase in taxes and stuff like that. I know that was discussed as well. So hopefully we'll have more answers for you then, but right now it's currently all a lot of speculation.
Wonderful, thank you guys for your time in advance of that meeting, and I look forward to hearing from you next month. Last month we had a conversation about having some sort of comment form available, both physical and digital, within the library. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, we kind of send that over to the library staff to come up with some ideas.
So while I was at the NDLA conference, I sort of polled the libraries to see if any other library had anything like this. They really don't. One of the things that I was considering in general is we do have a general library email. Like anybody can email just general. They don't have to email a specific person within the library. They can just email the library as a whole, and they can access that through our website. We also have just a general phone number, and so I feel like there are ways to access the library as opposed to, I don't know, just having a comment box. I feel like in general there would have to be a lot more procedure behind that, like who reviews it, does the board see it, does the library director see it, like what happens, do we then contact the individual, what if they don't leave contact information, like just sort of, I don't know, I feel like it could just be kind of wonky, like what do we do with this, like I think there are plenty of ways out there, even just going to the library and talking to someone at the circulation desk, about any type of concern or anything that anybody has. We're open to the public buildings, and I've always made it clear that my door is open and people can come talk, so.
I would just like to suggest again, just like our city commission opens the floor for 5 minutes at 5 o'clock, 5-10 minutes, for people to be able to present to our city commissioners their thoughts on whatever comes to mind. I just feel like that could be a great benefit to us as the board, to get to know our community, to hear the worries and things like that. And so I would just like to suggest at the end of each meeting that we open the floor to our citizens to have public comment in kind of following our city commission.
Any comments or discussion?
I thought about this some, and the difference between us and the city commission is the city commission is empowered to do things for the library. There's not a lot we can do. We are only allowed to set policy and remove and replace the director. That's pretty much the limit of our authority. And so, we can listen, but there's not much we can do.
And that might be 100% true. We might not know that bridge until we have to cross it. Truly, if someone brings different things to our attention. But I guess I've tried to mull it over in my mind too, like what is the negative of just opening the floor each month? Like,
I can definitely see the angle you're coming from here. A public forum is indeed supposed to be public in the most general sense. I mean, it's the first word for a reason. My only main worry here is if people presume, and rightfully so, they would assume that this is very similar to the process that the city commission puts forward at the end of every meeting, and good for them. But like Marcus said, to piggyback off of that, if you don't mind, that those who would come with public comments would then be frustrated at our lack of ability to enforce any action to that. So I mean, like you said, we can listen, and that's a wonderful thing to be able to hear the response from the community and what they need and what they're feeling. But our inability to do anything with that information kind of puts us at a bit of a governmental stalemate, if you will. I mean, there's not a lot we can do if someone says, well, I don't like the library's
they should go to the library and do it. And if there's a bigger problem, then they could do the reconsideration form and say, my reconsideration is not just for the book, it's for this whole thing. I don't like this procedure because, and then that would come to us where we can actually do something about it.
And all I wanted to say was Brian said exactly what I was going to say, that this, as a board, you need to be segregated from the operations, and that's why we have a process, because then when something does come to the board for a decision, you are seeing it for the first time as a view, and then you can decide is, what happened on the library side, why didn't they do it? What's the citizens' real concern and stuff? You can have all of that in front of you. This says, I don't have the best words, during the trial. You're gonna make that decision then, but then your mind is fresh. You're not part of the problem, you're part of the solution. So that's why we have the processes of forms, of comments, websites, whatever, but it does have to start where the operations are. And it's the same with the commission. When there's a problem or something, they need to start with staff or the CA, and if they don't get where they're wanting to go and they still see a problem, that's when they bring it freshly to the commission, and maybe there's a discussion there. But if you watch, a lot of the times, 99%